Romanticizing solitude. Um, that's gonna be today's main topic. Um, Everything I talk about today, it's gonna be related to coming to terms with, I guess, being alone. Not in the sense that you spend every day alone, but coming to terms with the fact that it's okay to be alone. Sometimes. Um, right. So my first point is that I think recently in well, yeah, in most times of the day and most days, I feel that I like being alone. Um, but it's not in the way where it's like I feel that I, you know, I'm a loner, that I don't like talking to people or that I don't want to have friends. I think it's more in a way where I found that I like being alone most days because it brings peace to myself. Um, and what I mean by peace is the fact that I'm able to spend my days not having to worry about someone else or not having to think of someone else, I guess. Um, and I think what I mean by peace is that I'm able to spend a lot of my days not needing to think about someone else. And the reason that brings me peace is because I feel that caring for someone is very tedious, and I think a lot of people would agree with this. And well, with the fact that I feel that I'm pretty busy these days, I think that it's quite nice being able to not have to think about anything else that isn't just me, as selfish as that sounds. Um, but getting back to the point, I want to touch back on, explaining what do I really mean by romanticizing solitude. Well, I feel that it's to me being able to love the fact that you can be okay with yourself. And what do I mean by that? Well, I feel that a lot of people, feel the need and urge to be with someone, whether it be in a relationship or, talking to a friend or whatever not. They feel the need that when they are not talking to someone, they do not feel loved and they don't feel content. And to me, romanticizing solitude is being able to understand that although, maybe it's nice to be talking to someone or to be loved by someone or to have to have your existence be known by someone, it's okay when that's not the case. It's okay when you're in your own thoughts and being able to sit in your own head because, your mind should be your priority. Like your thoughts, you should love your own thoughts as much as you do other people's. And when you come to terms with the fact that you're okay, needing to be by yourself, you know, it's really good. It's really fun. Um, to me, most of the times, I think I love being alone because it helps me feel calm. Like I can just sit down or play a game, and the fact that I don't have to open my mouth, to be honest, it's really comfortable. I don't know if that's just a me thing, but most times I can't be asked to open my mouth unless I have to. I don't know, like talking is just tedious, guys. It's not a, it's unless I'm like talking to a like I don't know. I just want to talk only some days. Some days I just don't want to talk. Um, anyways, let's go to learning to let go and how it helped me. So, at a time in my life, I loved a girl a lot. Um, and I think all my friends would agree that loving her was a very big part of who I was. Um, because I built this idea of us into such an important part of my life that it was very, very hard for me to feel like I was myself when I wasn't with her. And the reason I say this is because I think I had to get over her to learn to love myself. Um, I'll tell you about how I got over her another time, story for another time. But yeah, I was able to learn that I was okay even when I wasn't with her, even though I put, you know, myself and her synonymously into this one person, and I thought that without her I couldn't be myself. Well, obviously that wasn't the case, right? And to like I definitely spent a lot of days just sitting down and thinking and drifting in my own thoughts, just analyzing and replaying like every moment of my life. And that really helped me realize that, I was my own person without her, and I definitely didn't need to live through somebody to feel alive. I realized that, you know, I could be myself and not need to lean on this persona of loving her or needing her or yearning for her, and that people appreciated me for me. Um, and going from that, I actually want to talk about feeling lonely when you're surrounded by people. So, what do I mean by feeling lonely when you're surrounded by people? That sounds counterintuitive, right? Like, how would you feel lonely when there's people talking to you and people who care about you? Well, personally, I've felt this before. In high school, I was surrounded by a lot of people, a lot of friends. I had a friend group, a big friend group, but I felt that I was still very lonely a lot at a time, and it was just hard for me to feel like I was content, even though, I had people who cared about me, people who laughed at my jokes, people who were there, right? Um, and I definitely think that I struggled because I was sad all the time. Like I was just so sad all the time because at this point, well, not at this point. It was a long period of my life. I think it was like a year. I was just constantly sad all the time. And I don't want to self-diagnose. I don't think it's depression or anything, but it was definitely a state of constant sadness and self-pity where I would just wallow in my own thoughts. And even when we were playing games or we were out doing something, or you know I was with a friend, or literally anything, all I could think about was you know the fact that I missed this girl, the same girl. I missed her a lot, and that was all I could think about. And because of that, I felt lonely even though I was with a lot of people, because instead of appreciating the fact that there were people around me, I was just trapped in my own head. And yeah, I guess we should talk about how I got over that. So, It's a bit of a story, but at the time there was this girl. She was my friend's girlfriend. Um, and I I think that without her, I probably would have had a much tougher time getting over it, over this feeling of sadness. Um, so I really appreciate her for this. And what she did was she helped me feel like I could share my emotions and feelings with my friends. And maybe that sounds silly to some people, like, you know, like just say what you feel, that's like. But yeah, it was it wasn't like I didn't share my like feelings, but I think she helped me realize that sometimes all I need to do is just vent that frustration, and the fact that I vented it puts it out of my head, and the fact that it's outside from my head lets me, you know, enjoy the moment, forget about what I just thought about, think about other things, have fun. And that's what I did. I had fun. Um, I realized that I had people that cared about me. Um, and I was lucky to have so many people care about me because, you know, whether you think so or not, I feel that it's a luxury to have people who care and think about you. And it was definitely a wake-up call to realize that, you know, none of the people around me were indebted to help me, but they always did. They always put the effort to help me. And, you know, I even cried in school one time because of this girl. And I think most people would think, "Oh, that's embarrassing," or "Oh, maybe that's cause to for someone to laugh at you." But, I'm really happy with the fact that every single one of my friends were all supportive and they all hugged me and talked to me and checked up on me, and nobody even joked about it or ever brought it up as a means to to laugh or to joke about it. And at the time I didn't really appreciate it as much as I do now, but definitely looking back, I feel that I was super lucky to have people like that around me, and they definitely shaped who I am today and the thoughts that I think and what I believe in. Um, so yeah, I think loneliness is definitely a really tough thing to go through. I'm not gonna undermine that. I feel that most people don't understand that feeling of loneliness because you know maybe I don't want to hmm, like I feel that media portrays loneliness as like, oh, the kid that's getting bullied or the kid that doesn't have friends, but that's just not always the case, right? I feel that a lot of people are lonely not because they don't talk to anyone or because they don't have friends or because they're not loved. They feel lonely because they have such a loud voice in their head that it's so hard to, you know, mute that voice and focus on the fact that there are people around them that love and appreciate them. And I think that's the hardest part of loneliness is definitely figuring out that, you know, you have to find a way to mute that inner thought that keeps self-deprecating you and that keeps gaslighting you into thinking that, you know, there are other things to worry about when sometimes you just have to relax and take it all in and appreciate the people around you. Anyways, to end it, I think I want to talk a little bit on loneliness versus boredom. Um, Personally, for me, I feel that I'm only lonely when I'm bored nowadays. Um, like for example, sometimes. the single life gets too much, and I feel like, damn, I need a girlfriend. And it's times like that, when you're doom scrolling TikTok, watching sad slop, you feel that, damn, I'm super lonely right now. I wish I had somebody with me. But, you know, when I wake up in the morning, I go to bed, I wake up in the morning, I forget about that. So I feel that feeling of loneliness, it's just boredom. It's just boredom. You're just bored. Just take a nap, wake up the next day, you won't feel lonely. So that's a good thing. I think it's a good thing if you feel loneliness in that sense. Um, but yeah, that's it for today's video, I guess. I just wanted to talk about loneliness. I'm not lonely right now. I'm actually happy right now. I just finished an exam. It was pretty good. Um, but I don't know. To be honest, I don't know what I just yap, guys. I don't have a script, or I don't really structure lessons or wisdom. I just talk. So I hope you enjoyed the talk. And I guess I'll see you in the next one.